Hello, my name is Christopher Cassidy, and I'm a member of the Georgetown SFS class of 2021. I majored in Science, Technology, and International Affairs, minored in German, and was an active member of the Carroll Fellows Initiative. Today, I'd like to tell you about my interest in energy transition partnerships. Within society's response to climate change, one often overlooked aspect is the delivery of sustainable investment to emerging economies. These countries, such as South Africa and India, account for about 60% of global emissions, but represent only about 20% of global clean energy investment. Although leaders in these countries recognize the need to phase out fossil fuels, they often have difficulty attracting investors for decarbonization projects. At the same time, leaders in Western governments want to accelerate the energy transitions in these countries, but often encounter difficulties stimulating wide-scale investment due to high political risk, outdated policies, and a lack of attractive projects. To this end, governments such as the US and UK are experimenting with novel climate finance mechanisms through energy transition partnerships with emerging economies. These partnerships not only aim to deliver unprecedented amounts of capital to target countries, but also allow donors to pool resources to create sustainable pipelines for public and private investment. Nonetheless, this cannot occur without heightened coordination and policy alignment between partner governments. If successful, this model could transform how Western governments deliver climate finance to emerging economies and propel the decarbonization of key countries, such as South Africa and India. I seek to explore the diplomatic, economic, and financial dimensions of these energy transition partnerships and study their significance for climate change mitigation and geopolitics. But how did I get here? Well, I first became interested in energy policy while a student at Georgetown. Through my STEA coursework, I learned to contextualize energy sources as part of a broader energy system. I enjoyed learning how energy resources fit into a nation's international strategy and liked investigating decarbonization practices. Excited to translate this knowledge to action, I interned with the State Department in the Office of Western Europe, where, working alongside diplomats, I became fascinated by transatlantic energy coordination. In particular, I learned that communication is vital to implementing effective climate policy with allies. Equipped with this knowledge, after graduating, I pursued the intersection of public service and energy policy by interning with the House Committee on Natural Resources, where I had the chance to help with legislative efforts to expand clean energy on federal lands and waters. This experience gave me insight into the political and economic dimensions of wide-scale energy development. Following my time on the Hill, I interned with the Atlantic Council Global Energy Center, where, through extensive research and interviews, I explored the role of transatlantic coordination in sustainable development. In particular, I learned that energy transition partnerships have the potential to decarbonize emerging economies by facilitating complex regulatory and financial reforms. Flash forward to today, I'm staying on with the Atlantic Council to continue my work on climate finance. Through conducting interviews with senior US policymakers and organizing a high-level roundtable, I'm working to understand how the United States is engaging with allies to implement a novel $8.5 billion partnership with South Africa. Building on this work, in September, I will start a Fulbright research grant in Germany, where I will publish academic articles on how Germany and like-minded countries are forming energy partnerships with larger, more carbon-intensive countries, such as India, Indonesia, and Brazil. Taking a few steps back, though, I want to zero in on my leadership on spearheading dialogue between climate finance policymakers. During my internship at the Atlantic Council, a senior fellow and I discovered that there was very little shared understanding of climate finance activities between various government agencies and organizations. While several countries had recently agreed to a landmark agreement on climate finance with South Africa, few people, even senior officials, understood how this agreement would be implemented on a granular level. Recognizing a gap in knowledge on the topic, we decided to create a new project to facilitate knowledge sharing between various policymakers. Through networking, expert interviews, and independent research, we were able to piece together the interconnections between various climate finance programs, analyze their respective strengths and weaknesses, and isolate areas of improvement for future cooperation. As a result of our efforts, we hosted a roundtable in which leaders from key organizations, such as the Treasury Department and UK and German foreign ministries, met to exchange their perspectives on individual climate finance programs and learn how they could better collaborate on future initiatives. Because of this, I realized that my work could help improve communication between foreign policy leaders and advance vital efforts to advance the global energy transition. This experience also reinforced my desire to pursue a career at the nexus of foreign policy and public service. Given my background and goals, I now hope to pursue a one-year master's in international political economy at the London School of Economics. Through courses such as economic diplomacy and through the guidance of climate policy experts such as Dr. Robert Faulkner, I believe I will be well positioned to write a thorough dissertation on the influence of international economic coordination on sustainable development. Moreover, I also hope to pursue a one-year master's in international climate change, finance and investment at the University of Edinburgh. This interdisciplinary course, with its dual focus on energy systems and financial operations, would equip me with the knowledge and skills to engage with clean energy investment on a technical level. Additionally, this program would provide me with unparalleled access to Scotland's world-class green energy technology ecosystem. By pursuing these programs in London and Edinburgh, I believe I would gain a truly comprehensive picture of the United Kingdom and its contemporary climate policy. Using this knowledge, I hope to return to the United States to pursue a career in public service, whether at the State Department, the U.S. Development Finance Corporation, or a related federal agency. A little bit about me. I am from a small city in upstate New York called Poughkeepsie. And growing up in an inner city environment, I really developed my interest in foreign affairs through books and games. I would spend hours at the nearby FDR Presidential Library and spending time with friends coming up with rules to games like Risk and Monopoly. And after earning a spot in the SFS, I really tried to make the most out of the experience. So I waited in line to see guest speakers, I took embassy tours, and I even took the opportunity to study abroad. And my fun fact, in my free time at Georgetown, I joined the Georgetown Fencing Club. I fell in love with the sport, and I eventually became the president of the team my senior year. Thank you for your time and consideration.